Hi everybody, today we're going to look at a suggested solution to the constructionWorkers project. In this project we're going to create a menu-based system which allows a user to borrow a tool if they press 1 on the keyboard. They can borrow a tool as long as the number of tools in an array is less than 10. So they can only borrow up to 10 tools. Option 2, they can count a tool. This allows the user to enter a tool name and the number of times the tool has been borrowed will be displayed. And option number 3 will quit the program. So we're just going to create an array of tools and then we're going to process that array using these 3 options. So the first thing I'm going to do in my algorithm, if you like, is to display the menu. Then I'm going to get the choice. While the choice doesn't equal 3, because remember 3 means quit. So while choice isn't quit, we're going to process choice 1, which is to add a tool to the array, if the array is not full already. If the choice is 2, we're going to count the number of tools, for example hammer, that are in the array. I'm also going to process any rogue choices. So if the user enters 7, we're just going to display an error message. After we've processed the choices, we're going to display the menu again. And then we're going to get the next choice. And that will keep us in the while loop. And if the next choice becomes 3, then the program ends. So let's display a menu with the choices. So 1, add a tool to array. 2 is count how many. Let's just say count a tool. And 3 is going to be quit the program. So that's the menu. Now then, let's get the user choice. I'm just going to be using integers from the keyboard. And let's just put a little message here, enter choice. Okay. Now then, we're going to go into a while loop. So while choice doesn't equal 3, we're going to do something. The first thing we're going to do is process choice 1. So let's just organize this a little bit. I'm going to put it under the comment. If choice is the same as 1, well, if choice is 1, we're going to add a tool to the array. Oh, we don't have an array yet, do we? So at the very top of our program, we need a global variable, tools. And tools is an empty array. So that's all it is at the moment. It's a global variable. The whole program knows what it is. So if choice is 1, we're going to ask the user for a tool. So print, enter the name of a tool. Then we're going to get the tool. So tool equals input. I tell you what, there's another step that we need here, which is validate tool. We need to make sure we're only getting valid tools. So while tool doesn't equal hammer and tool doesn't equal brush and tool doesn't equal pliers and tool doesn't equal screwdriver. What was the other one? There were 5, weren't there? And tool doesn't equal, what was the 5th one? Hammer, brush, pliers, screwdriver, glue gun. So we're going to ask for a tool, we're going to get the tool, and now we're going to make sure we get a valid tool using this while loop. So if the user enters something that's not hammer, brush, pliers, screwdriver, or glue gun, we're just going to say, hey, invalid entry. Invalid tool. Try again. And we're going to say tool equals input. We don't have to convert it to an int because it's a string. Okay, invalid tool, try again. Okay, So by the time we get to line 25, we've got a valid tool from the user. Okay, we're still in choice 1. This is still choice 1. We're asking for a tool, we're getting a tool, and now we can process the tool. Remember, we're only going to add the tool to the array, to this array. We're only going to add that tool if there is space available. Okay, so let's just code that. If len tools is less than 10, because we can only allow 10 tools to be in the array, we can add it. Tools.append tool. And let's just put in a little else statement here. Else, we're just going to print out the array is full. Okay, so we get a tool, we just make sure it's a valid tool, we make sure there's space in the array, we push it into the array, and then the final thing we do is display the set of tools. So let's just say tool set, tool array, tools. And we'll just put another print there just to space things out a little bit. So that's choice 1. Now let's process choice 2. So L if choice is equal to 2. This is where we count the number of tools in the array. So again, we're going to ask for a tool. In fact, we're going to ask for a tool and we're going to validate the tool. So we're going to do all of this again. So let's just take all of that. If choice is 2, we're going to ask for a tool, we're going to get a tool, and then we're going to validate the tool. Make sure we get a valid tool. So by the time we reach line 43, for sure, we've got hammer, brush, pliers, screwdriver, or glue gun. We've got a valid tool. That's validation for us. So now let's do a count. I'm going to set a variable called count to 0. I'm now going to loop through the whole of the array. And I'm just going to say if tools I is the same as the text that the user entered, this tool that we're processing, we're going to update count. And when the for loop is finished, so we're outside the for loop now, we're going to print, let's say tool count is count. And let's just put another print statement there just to space things out a little bit. So that's choice 2 processing. We get a tool, we validate the tool, and then we count how many of those tools are in the array and print the result. Now the next thing I wanted to do is process a rogue choice. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is we've got if choice equals 1, we're going to do all that. Elif choice equals 2, we're going to do all that. And the final condition is the rogue condition, so that's just else print invalid option. Try again. And then we're going to display the menu again because the user must have an opportunity to make another choice. So we're going to display the menu and we're going to get the choice. So this is inside the while loop, but it's not a member of any of those if statements. It's just in the while loop. Let's just make sure the indenting is correct. So that else is finished. We're just back into the while loop now. Okay. So let's just go through this very quickly one more time. We're going to display a menu, we're going to get a choice. We're now going to jump into a while loop. While the choice isn't 3, which is quit, if it's 1, we're going to append a tool to an array. Else, if the choice is 2, we're going to count the number of tools. in the array that the user gives us, where the user is going to tell us what they're looking for. Otherwise, they didn't enter 1 and they didn't enter 2, so it's invalid. And then we're going to display the array again, the menu again, and get the choice. So let's just run this and see if it works. I'm going to enter choice 1, enter the name of the tool. So at the moment, our tool array just contains a hammer. So we're going to add another tool. We now have a hammer and a brush. Let's add another tool. Let's add another hammer. Now we're going to add another one. I'm going to do brush. I'm going to add another one, screwdriver. So we've got a hammer, a brush, and a screwdriver. Now let's count tools. I'm going to do 2. Enter the name of the tool, hammer. There is 2 in the array. I'm going to do that again. Pliers. There are no pliers in the array, so let's add some pliers. Now we have hammer, brush, screwdriver, pliers. Let's just go and count the pliers. Hopefully the answer is 1. Yes, the count is 1. Now we're going to add a tool, banana. Invalid tool, try again, okay. Apple. Invalid tool, try again, okay. Pliers. So now we have 2 pliers in the array. Now we're going to count pliers. Let's add a rogue choice. Enter choice 7. Invalid option. Try again. So we get the menu back. Now we're going to quit. And there is a solution to the construction workers project.